Welcome to Belling History with the Good Time Girls. This is our hyper-local podcast about the quirky history of Bellingham, Washington, and the fourth corner of these United States. Even though we like to keep things close to home, these stories are no less entertaining to the masses and those who find themselves, unfortunately, outside of the PNW. We are your hosts. I am Ren.
And I'm Colby.
And we are the co-owners of Belling History Tours, also known as the Good Time Girls. If you want to know more about our tour business, visit our website at bellinghistory.com. In today's episode, we have called Sanitarium Insanity in Bellingham, or turns out yogurt enemas and human bake ovens don't do jack shit to cure your depression. We're going to start this off by just saying that we're going to split this probably into two parts because there's so much to say about Sanitarium Insanity, so buckle up.
Yes, we're going to talk about a couple of Bellingham sanitariums, two of the sort of major ones. But first, we're going to clarify exactly what a sanitarium is and or was. So, Ren, what do you know about sanitariums, or what does that conjure in your mind?
You know, we've been talking about these for years on our tours, but before that, I think sanitariums to me is like tuberculosis and a little bit, polio, blood, guts, and spit and ass.
Yeah, I always think of like creepy Victorian insane asylums and the Metallica song.
Yeah, oh yeah. I know. Can we snip out a piece of that?
They might sue us.
They're known for that.
Yep.
It's that good old white boy rage that nobody understands me bullshit. And that is also creepy, too. Just as creepy as polio. Sorry, Metallica fans. So, anyway, why don't we dive in? What is a sanitarium, really? I've heard either sanitarium or sanatorium.
Yeah, that is confusing. There are two distinct terms, sanitarium and sanatorium. You can look up how they're spelled. They are used interchangeably, but sanitarium is primarily a North American word, and they have slightly different origins. So sanitarium comes from sanitas, meaning health, whereas sanatorium comes from sanar, or sanare. I'm not sure how you pronounce that.
Yeah, it sounded good.
Meaning to cure or to heal. So a sanatorium, with an O, is a facility where people with chronic illnesses or a need to convalesce are treated. And yeah, established in the early 1800s, tuberculosis treatment is a big reason for a sanatorium. And those, you're thinking about isolating people away from the population while giving them a place to, rest and get well. But a sanitarium is also a facility where people with chronic illnesses are treated, but it's less of contagious diseases and more just in general. So, and a sanitarium also is basically to what I think in our modern eyes look like a health spa. Mm-hmm. Like a resort, thinking soaking in hot tubs and getting massages and eating health food.
Yeah. Right. I don't think people generally associate the word with health spa, but when most people think of early 20th century health spa, they think of the famous Battle Creek Sanitarium created by John Harvey Kellogg in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Yeah, if you don't already know about that, you should probably just stop this podcast right now and go find one of the great many podcasts about J. Harvey Kellogg and his sanitarium. There's a good Behind the Bastards one, the Stuff You Missed in History. I think there's a Sawbones. Some of our faves have covered Kellogg and his sanitarium, so we're not going to go too deep on it. You can also just watch Road to Wellville with Anthony Hopkins playing Mr. Kellogg, and Matthew Broderick and John Cusack. It's a great cast and a fun movie, though they leave out some of the gnarlier stuff.
I can always only associate Battle Creek Sanitarium with cornflakes and anti-masturbation treatments. Or maybe more often, anytime I see a box of cornflakes, I think of sexual shame and closeted Seventh-day Adventists. So there's your hook. Go look it up.
Teaser. Yeah, so John Harvey Kellogg is tied in with both the breakfast cereal and very much with Seventh-day Adventism and this sort of health. A lot of intense beliefs around health, the body, diet, and sex. Some of it is pretty like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Other stuff, No.
Not so much, yeah. Yeah, probably.
Like the genital stuff.
The genitals and the acids.
Yeah.
And the application of acids to genitals is
the treatments
one
for
that stands
masturbation.
out. Yeah.
A little rough.
Yeah, it wasn't just cornflakes.
At any rate, that Battle Creek Sanitarium was very huge and influential. And a lot of folks would basically go intern at the Battle Creek Sanitarium or one of the spin-offs and then go open their own practice, like a franchise. So that's how Bellingham got our Sanitarium Baths, which opened in 1903 on Elk Street, which is State Street today. And the building is now home to Northwest Youth Services, and it's right across the street from one of our favorite bars, the Red Light.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so the first ad appeared in 1903 for the sanitarium. So it says, the Sanitarium, branch of the famous Battle Creek, the latest and most scientific treatments for diseases, sweat baths, packs, shampoos, salt glow massage, electricity, etc. Dun, dun, dun. It was originally opened by Lorenzo Elbert Blivens, a Battle Creek graduate, and he ran it for about 3 years and then moved to Oregon and opened another franchise there. So after that, it was taken over by Clarence and Carrie Threlkeld?
Threlkeld is how I'm saying it.
Yeah, it's a cool
I could
name.
Be wrong. If
Okay.
that's your name, correct us. Let us know.
Are you with Threlkeld? They were also graduates of Kellogg's College. So also note, these guys were all Seventh-day Adventists, just like the Kellogg's.
Yeah, so we've got Clarence Delos Threlkeld and his wife Carrie Bell. And they were both born in Iowa in the 1880s, and their families were all Seventh-day Adventists. So it seems logical they both got into the whole Kelloggsian program. They were married in Oregon in 1906 and moved to Bellingham pretty soon after. They also adopted their 3 children, which makes me wonder if they were celibate like the Kellogg's.
Yep, again, gotta read about those folks because they were celibate, never consummated their marriage, and I don't know if that was a practice for all those folks, but...
Yeah, at least the Threlkeds only adopted 3 children, I think.
Instead of, 40 was the
They
number for the
fostered
Kellogg's?
like 40 children. But they could afford it. They had the bigger sanitarium.
Yeah.
The Threlkelds took over the local Battle Creek franchise, and they changed the name to the Sanitarium Baths. And after they took over, there was an ad that read, "Who said Turkish bath? We don't give them, but we do give something better. All we ask is for you to try it, and if you are not satisfied, it costs you nothing. We employ the Battle Creek, Michigan sanitarium methods, the originators of the electric light sweating bath. It has no equal for relieving weariness. We also give steam, plain, and electric baths, Swedish, vibratory, facial and head massages, salt glows, shampoos, and various other treatments for insomnia, nervousness, dyspepsia, rheumatism, colds, etc."
That's
Wow.
a lot of things.
It is. And then there's another ad that says, "When is a Turkish bath not a Turkish bath? Answer, when it is an electric bath. You guessed it, so it's up to us to prove it."
So a couple of things that stand out to me. First, they specify their expertise in the Battle Creek methods, and a lot of these so-called treatments, facial and head massages, salt glows, etc., they were being offered also at beauty parlors as beauty treatments. But here they advertise these as cures for all of those things: insomnia, nervousness, pretty much everything under the sun. It could be cured by a salt glow, whatever that means. The second is that they seem to have been trying to get away from the Turkish bath image, which was something their predecessors had really used in advertising. Turkish baths we kind of think of as maybe they thought of them with like a sexy vibe, but what they're talking about is basically hot tubs or saunas. And I think they're trying to get away from that exotic sort of vibe.
Yeah, Turkish baths kind of got a reputation.
I could see how and why. But they're really trying to modernize and get into that whole medical sort of
Yes.
sanitary.
Yes, and Threlkeld's, the use of photographs in their ads is really interesting to me and kind of innovative and probably costs them a little bit more money than most ads didn't. You didn't see a lot of photographs in ads and newspapers and city directories and things, and they use tons of them. There's photos of the interior of the sanitarium, of the equipment. There's a lot of pictures of people being hosed off.
Yeah,
Which I'm like, is that a selling
I don't,
point?
yeah. They spent a lot of money on that picture of people being hosed down.
Yeah. But I think by using those photographs, they're trying to convey, that modern technology in both the medium and the message.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a lot of photos of Clarence. I don't know if you got to check any of these out, but he's pretty creepy looking.
Clarence is creepy. I think we're gonna have to put these on our Instagram or something, so that people can. Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, see, because you guys don't want to miss out.
Yeah,
trust me.
And so Carrie, I just want to point out, was also advertised as being a trained nurse or a registered nurse,
right?
And of course, it was her job to run the ladies' department.
Of course, yes, you had to have that separation of the ladies and the gents. But by 1910, the sanitarium parlors were doing so well that they had to expand, and they enlarged their space and hired new assistants from a sanitarium in Boulder, Colorado. And then they also, at that time, they got some fancy new upright electric light bath cabinets, which were fancy and also creepy. So there's an ad from May 31st, 1911 that shows the cabinet with the doors open. There's a stool inside, rows of light bulbs lining the interior, and they subtitled this "Superior to Turkish Bath." So the advertisement for the light bath that is superior to a Turkish bath reads, "If you have not had your first electric light bath, then one of the keenest enjoyments of your life is still ahead of you. It is so easy to take, so comfortable, nothing to do but take a seat in the cabinet, turn on the electric lights within, adjust the cloth around your neck, and with an occasional sip of hot or cold water, wait in luxurious comfort for 10 or 15 minutes until the body is bathed in perspiration. Then come out from the cabinet to spray or shower, and as your whole body tingles and glows with the final rubbing, you feel literally like a king. You have had the royal bath of the 20th century."
Amazing.
Sounds so lovely. And I think we're like, I don't know. I guess we were trying to be medical, but that's getting a little it's getting a little flowery again.
It was. They're like, it's kind of like a Turkish bath.
Right.
Though.
But you're separated by wood from other people. So then it does this fun side-by-side comparison of Turkish baths versus electric light baths. And, I don't know how true any of these things are, but there's a side-by-side. The Turkish bath, you perspire, it takes you 20 to 30 minutes, but in an electric light bath, you perspire in 2 to 5 minutes. So it's
clearly an improvement. I like that the one says the Turkish bath causes lassitude and depression.
Yeah. Sitting in a hot tub makes you depressed. Who knew? Because that has never been the case for me. I struggle with depression, and I've never, ever felt
more depressed
after a hot tub.
I know.
But the electric light bath says it's highly tonic and invigorating. So
clearly.
Maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know, man.
I've never sat in a cabinet of light bulbs before. So
a tanning
who
booth?
am I to say?
It sounds to me like a tanning booth.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
It's very much that, yeah.
I mean, different kind of light bulbs, but... Yeah, so, and the whole thing about sweating, I think, then as now is like part of that whole belief in the need that we need to detox or rid the body of toxins, which is a whole topic of debate unto itself. I think there's a Sawbones episode about that. Yeah. Apparently our bodies are pretty good at just detoxing, like with our livers, but...
We have whole organs dedicated to that. But yeah, that detox thing was illustrated in another ad from 1911. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I just love this bit. If the pores of the skin are not kept clean and in proper working order, the body soon becomes overburdened with impurities and disease follows. The purpose and work of the electric light sweating bath is to open the pores of the skin and cause a free perspiration. In this process, a large percentage of impurities is eliminated from the body as nature intends, and the blood is purified and allowed to perform its work properly. Really making some claims here.
Yeah, and it's just a wood cabinet filled with light bulbs, like a weird sauna. Mm-hmm. But it has that convenient head hole, so you wouldn't have to breathe that hot, sweaty air. Yeah. They also had a horizontal bath, so there was 2 versions. There was a horizontal one where you lie down in the box, I guess with your head sticking out. So there's an ad here from 1913 that shows a man being put in or removed from one of these horizontal baths, and it's quite an impressively trimmed out wooden fucking structure.
Yeah, looks like a piece of Victorian furniture.
Yeah, it's
for
like
sure.
heavy duty.
Mm-hmm.
The description says, this electric light cabinet is lined with French plate mirrors reflecting toward the body the light rays of the 67 incandescent lights. 8 switches control the temperature from 80 to 160 degrees. Just like the sun bath, only you can shut the electric light bath off when you get warm enough. You can breathe fresh air while taking this bath. Many people prefer this type of cabinet, which permits one to recline, but we also have another style producing the same effect, but allowing a sitting position.
I think the recline, that is the tanning bed.
Yep, totally.
Totally the tanning bed. And I like you can control the temperature from 80 to 160, which basically, like, you just turn off a couple light bulbs,
Yeah, exactly.
right? Like, it's pretty fancy.
I just wonder, like, so... Are you mostly naked-ish? I mean, you're probably wearing undergarments.
Yeah.
But, like, you probably
need your pores to breathe.
Some bare flesh, a little bit.
Yeah.
Or, like, thin material.
Or cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what if you, like, move around a little bit and you touch those light bulbs? Are they really hot? Like, when you get burned?
Does it burn you? I know. It's scary.
I have questions.
Well, you know, and that could be why we don't use electric light baths anymore, maybe. I have something slight to do with it. So there's electricity for healing is a new, big, exciting thing, obviously. The light baths were some of the more logical and safe, though, of these new electrical spa craze ideas. But we're going to have more on that later, so stay tuned. But suffice to say, for now, electricity was this amazing new thing, and everyone wanted to get in on it.
Totally. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of electric gadgets that come out at this time that are very interesting. All right. So the Threlkelds had this great opportunity in 1913 to move their business from State Street into the new Leopold Hotel building that just was newly built on Dock Street, which is now Cornwall Avenue. So a lot of you Bellinghamsters might be familiar with the Leopold Hotel, or the Hotel Leo as it's now called, one of our oldest continuously operating hostelries, although it's seen a variety of buildings and remodels. In the early 1900s, the old Byron Hotel was purchased by Leopold Schmidt, the brewery baron of the Olympia and the Bellingham Bay breweries. And he built this new modern wing that had opened in 1913. And of course, he rechristened the hotel in his own name, naturally, as the Hotel Leopold. But it was great for the Threlkelds because, you know, hotel and spa.
Yeah. In their previous location, they were essentially just a day spa, but now people could come from out of town, stay in the hotel, receive treatments on the location, and you'd get a lot of business travelers. Hence this ad. Businessmen and women find it to their advantage to take a good sweating bath once a week, thus counteracting their lack of outdoor exercise and fresh air. For nature's plan is that man shall live by the sweat of his brow.
Yeah, you desk jockeys.
I know. Oh my. I think it's interesting that there was a perception of this modern city living as being unhealthy already back then.
Yep, people sitting at their desks too much. They didn't even have computers yet.
Yeah.
So we want to touch on an interesting couple of ads also, fast forward to 1918/19 that may resonate today. Recall the so-called Spanish flu epidemic that infected like a third of the global population over the course of about 2 years. That broke out around the end of World War I. And the pandemic was alarming, especially due to the unusually high death rates of young adults, rather than how most flus affect the very old and very young. So this was just on everybody's minds when Sanitarium is, and they're dealing with this in their daily lives like we are now. So they ran this ad in October of 1918. Are Sanitarium Baths good for influenza? Yes, decidedly so. But you should not be outdoors if you have it. You endanger your own life as well as expose others to infection. The best method is prevention. Maintain your health. If you feel indisposed, take a good sweat, drink plenty of water, keep the nose and throat clear of germs with antiseptics. If your symptoms indicate flu, go to bed, call your doctor, and follow his advice, as the first few days will tell the tale. Then, when you reach the convalescent stage, take a course of Sanitarium Baths, as they will help you regain strength much more rapidly and eliminate the many complications common after an attack of la grippe. P.S. says this, quote, P.S. Don't cough, spit, or sneeze in a manner to endanger the health and lives of others.
I love that.
I just love that. It's like kind of similar to now. They're like, yes, we can cure you, but don't come in here and don't cough or spit or sneeze. Maybe come in here when you're feeling a little better.
Yeah, once you're in the convalescent stage, that's what they say. And I think it's pretty great. I love the don't cough, spit, or sneeze. I know, there's been a lot of articles that went around, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, about, this was such a common thing back then. And people were using chewing tobacco and men
spittoons.
And spittoons.
Spitting on the sidewalk.
Spitting everywhere. There were signs everywhere. Just don't spit in the streets. And it's just like... Yeah.
I wonder why tuberculosis was...
Yeah, it spread pretty damn quick. Yeah, yeah. So the following winter, there was another wave of the flu, and the sanitarium then started to offer home treatments, which also, is very familiar with our pandemic, right? Like, we're all kind of moving to home-based care and not inviting people into small spaces to get medical treatment. So in 1919, in January, they say, flu home treatment, ! There's nothing better than sanitarium treatments to prevent or relieve pneumonia and other flu complications. We only wish we had sufficient nurses so we could treat everyone who is sick, but we are answering as many calls as we can. Flu home treatments at your home, $3. Night calls, extra.
So they must have a staffing issue. Like, nobody wanted to work anymore, Ren. What was happening?
Everybody just needs to get off their asses. A la Kim Kardashian. I don't know do you know anything about what that looked like? What were they bringing to the home?
I think they had like portable
like,
electric
lights,
baths and stuff. They could just wheel on in there.
It's pretty cool.
Stick you in the cabinet. It's interesting though, how they had to pivot to that more like, don't come in here, you germy assholes. We'll come to you. And I love how in the years following the epidemic, the ads really like took a turn to stressing like cleanliness and sanitation is like the main selling point.
Yeah.
And they talked about treatments and baths given at the sanitarium are more sanitary than would be obtained at home, as all drinking glasses, bath sponges, soap, drinking tubes, towels, pillow slips, sheets, and all that comes in contact with the patient is furnished new or sterilized for each treatment. So they're just really big on, they must have had lots of laundry.
Yeah.
They said they used an average of 11 fresh sheets and towels in each treatment. From 6,000 to 10,000 pieces of linen are washed and sterilized each month in the sanitarium's private power laundry.
Power laundry. Sounds exciting. Especially exciting for the women that got to work there.
I know.
Sure.
Ugh.
Yeah. Totally can see, though, after, like, reading all of that, like, how, you don't want to go breathe in and just sit in a sauna with a bunch of people and breathe in their germs. Yeah. So you can sit in this little
they had to figure out
by yourself.
They had to pivot.
Yep. We're all so used to doing that. So... there's another aspect of the sanitarium baths and the sanitation of things, and that is just it being a natural remedy, right? Forget everything about modern and all of that, but now we're kind of getting carried away in our country with medications and over-medicating. So I love this. There's this ad from May of 1921, again, that illustrates another sort of tenet of the natural remedy circles who flocked to the sanitarium baths in similar places. And it was titled, Keep Children Healthy with Sun Baths. And there's a little picture of a girl about to be closed in an electric light bath, upright. And it says, children respond more readily to natural remedies when they are ill than adults. Parents, do not dope your children. The promiscuous use of medicines in childhood has made invalids of thousands. Simple remedies at the right time will often prevent long and serious illness. So this idea of over-medicating children is not new. And I think there's a lot that we're going to talk about here about drugless medicine and trying to treat things more naturally, which is, again, early days for that kind of talk. And I think something that people don't really realize about that part of history.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of understandable when every patent medicine out at that time, like anybody could just patent some crazy concoction and they're all full of like opium and cocaine and other less pleasant or effective things.
Yes. Radium. Radium energy drinks.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, I read just a little bit about that, but there was, it was a patent medicine for drinks with radium in them. And the guy that invented it, there was all this, people were getting sick, obviously. It's not something that you want to drink every day. And he drank it every day. And then eventually his jaw just crumbled and had to be removed from his body. Yeah, I think probably. And there's,
the
he is very much like,
Jesus.
Still, it's like fucking Chernobyl in that grave for sure. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. And so things like that, but they were just like, there was no regulation and, you could say anything you wanted. And if you were a good enough salesman.
Yeah, it really they didn't start regulating this stuff till a number of years later. They started kind of trying to figure out what is in these and does it actually work?
Yeah.
But also this response to it, this like drugless medicine kind of gets taken to an extreme also. And I found it really interesting. Like apparently there was a whole thing with its own terminology here in the Pacific Northwest. So there's an article by James Wharton in Pharmacy and History. It's called Sanipractic. Sanipractic Drugless Health and Medicine. He talks about how anything goes environment of medicine in the Pacific Northwest, and he says, quote, "One such regional phenomenon was sanipractic, a drugless system that, even though confined to the Pacific Northwest corner of the country, created enough of a stir there to draw glances from national surveyors of unorthodox medicine. There was the legal environment, which featured a medical licensing policy so liberal as to practically invite every imaginable species of quack and cultist to migrate to the region."
Damn.
"If any other state," a Washington medical editor despaired, "can present such a melange for treating the sick and attending to human ailments, we would like to have them appear in competition." Competition from unorthodox practitioners had been a thorn in the side of the regular profession since its start in the area. So this was all in response to the 1919 Washington Drugless Healers Act. So there was just a board of examiners to certify drugless healers, which was a term that encompassed mechanotherapists, suggestive therapists, food scientists, psychocultopaths. What is that?
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. And so for the organized medical community, they were really opposed to this legislation and called it a national embarrassment. Because they're really, again, who is on this board and who is qualified to certify these people in these very questionable therapeutic careers?
Yeah.
That was questionable in and of itself.
Oh my gosh, yeah, for sure. So really, it's like the same legal environment that allows that crazy patent medicines and radium drinks to be cooked up and sold by just about anybody also allowed for these drugless healers and quacks to flourish. And the drugless healers could be just as weird with their electrical devices and fad diets as, the potions.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really a lot of controlled studies being done on any of it. So
and electricity and water combinations that weren't exactly safe either.
Yes. So, and honestly though, the Threlkelds and the Sanitarium Baths seem pretty benign ultimately compared to some other practitioners and establishments, which we'll get into that more in a later part here. So the Threlkelds operated the Sanitarium Baths in the Leopold Hotel through Clarence's death in 1946. He was 60 years of age. Yeah. It was kind of a sudden death. So apparently he wasn't all that healthy, really.
I mean, 60's okay.
60's okay, but man,
for
that's
46.
Like 10 years away from me.
Yeah. Sorry.
Almost.
Sore spot, yeah.
Carrie kept it going through 1950, and then she retired and moved to California with her adult children. And the sanitarium actually continued at the Leopold under different management for like 6 or so more years. It's definitely the longest running sanitarium in Bellingham.
Yeah, for sure. I was kind of amazed at how long it was in operation and super successful and used by a lot of people, which I think we need another one. We need a spa.
Right?
We need like the Naked Lady spa.
Yeah, so you've
here
been
in
to
Bellingham.
the Olympus spa.
Yes.
In Linwood. Yeah, so I've been going there for years, and I mean, this reminds me so much of that because they have those little rooms that are like heated. There's like the jade room and the salt room and the charcoal room. And they're all supposedly like have these different healing properties.
Right.
You know, but like, I don't know. I personally just go there because it's relaxing.
Well, because it's warm and quiet.
Yeah.
You just get to be naked.
I know, like
it's
maybe
great.
some toxins are coming out of me. That's great. That's a
yeah.
bonus,
Maybe I'm detoxing. Maybe I'm just without my children for 12 hours.
Exactly.
You know what?
Yes.
Either one. I'll take it.
That's it.
Yeah, it's you know, it's an interesting. It's such a big subject that we're tackling today, but I don't, you know, so it's hard to say the moral of the story. And I think, you know, a part 2 maybe in order. Yeah. Because there's a lot of other characters that play here, and I think it'll be fun to tackle. But I think for now, do you have a moral of the story? Do you have a you know?
Just that I think it's okay to like, you know, self-care is like enough, you know. You can just call it that.
Yes.
You don't have to be like, it's gonna cure my every last illness.
Yeah.
So that's where I think you get into trouble.
I think so too. The simplicity of the thing. They were onto something, right? With like sweating it out or being warm or whatever. But then and we're going to see that more in the next episode where they just take it to the next level.
Yes.
Like,
and just all the claims. I think they say on Sawbones, a cure-all cures nothing. So the more things that you claim to be able to cure, the more likely it's just like, yeah, that doesn't do shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
So
everything's just a piece of the puzzle.
I mean, but it's good. It's good to take care of yourself and make yourself feel good. Your mental health is also very important, right? And I think relaxing treatments like these are very valid and valuable. You just don't have to claim they cure cancer.
Yes. No. Yes, exactly. Or polio or rheumatism or any of those things.
What else did they have back then? Piles.
Oh, yeah. He got the piles and the consumption and
dropsy.
Tuberculosis. Yeah, dropsy. That's a good one. That's such a great name.
I always just figure people like falling over.
I know.
Dropping.
I think it's kind of a good name for like a fluffy cat.
Popsy, dropsy, and flopsy.
Yeah, oh my gosh, of course. Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, we are going to catch you on the next episode of Belling History with the Good Time Girls. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon. Enjoy that sweat. Get that good modern sweat in, if you can.
Get some glow on.
Get some glow.
Well, hey there, mama, where'd you go? You gotta reap just what you sow. That's too bad. Too bad. To that old time, the old man hits without bad weather. Put on the side, they were sewn together. That's too bad. To listen to that old time music.
We'd like to thank Devin Champlin and the late, great Lucas Hicks for the use of the Gallows Brothers song, Too Bad West Coast Blues. You can find the Gallows Brothers tune on Bandcamp, and you can find Devin Champlin at Champlin Guitars in Bellingham.
Oh, Lou loves you red, Lou loves you blue. Most of the time, Lucas loves you blue. That's too bad. To listen to that old time music. I lost my hat, I lost my brim. I look like a crow's nest swinging on a limb. That's too bad. To listen to that old time music.
All right, we'd like to thank you for listening to Belling History with the Good Time Girls. Check out our tours and events, read our blog with podcast notes, etc. at bellinghistory.com. And don't forget to subscribe and review our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast platform.
Looking like a crow's nest swinging from a limb. That's too bad. Too bad. Well, I got no bugging, I got no smokes. I look like Grandpap and all of his folks. That's too bad. To listen to that old time music.
And tune in next time for more Belling History.